Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most foundational stories in Christianity, the 12 Apostles of Jesus. Who were these men? What were their backgrounds? And what ultimately happened to them after Jesus' resurrection? It's a story of faith, courage, and immense sacrifice. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's journey back 2,000 years. First, let's clarify who the apostles were. These were the 12 men Jesus personally chose to be his closest followers and students. They weren't scholars or kings. They were ordinary people, fishermen, a tax collector, and others from humble backgrounds. Jesus called them to leave their old lives behind and follow him, promising to make them fishers of men. They witnessed his miracles, heard his teachings firsthand, and were tasked with spreading his message to the world. Let's start with the most well-known apostle, Simon Peter, or just Peter. Originally a fisherman from Galilee, Peter was often the spokesperson for the group. He was impulsive and passionate. Remember when he walked on water toward Jesus? But then his faith faltered? That's Peter. He famously denied Jesus 3 times, but later repented and became a rock of the early church. Tradition holds that Peter traveled to Rome, where he was martyred under Emperor Nero. He requested to be crucified upside down, feeling unworthy to die in the same manner as Jesus. Next up is Peter's brother, Andrew. He was also a fisherman, and fun fact, he was first a disciple of John the Baptist. It was Andrew who brought his brother Peter to Jesus. After Pentecost, Andrew is said to have preached in areas around the Black Sea, including modern-day Greece and Turkey. He, too, met a martyr's end. He was crucified on an egg-shaped cross in Patras, Greece, which is now known as St. Andrew's Cross. Then we have the sons of Zebedee, James and John, nicknamed the sons of thunder by Jesus, likely due to their fiery personalities. James the Greater, as he's known to distinguish him from another apostle, James, was part of Jesus' inner circle, along with Peter and John. He was the first apostle to be martyred. The book of Acts tells us he was executed by the sword under King Herod Agrippa, the first in Jerusalem around 44 AD. His brother John is a fascinating figure. Also part of the inner circle, he's traditionally credited with writing the Gospel of John, 3 epistles, and the book of Revelation. He's often referred to as the disciple whom Jesus loved. Unlike most of the others, John is believed to have lived to an old age and died a natural death in Ephesus in modern-day Turkey after being exiled to the island of Patmos. Now for Philip, like Peter and Andrew, he was from Bethsaida. In the Gospel of John, we see Philip as a practical, somewhat literal-minded person. When Jesus fed the 5,000, it was Philip who pointed out they didn't have enough money to buy bread. After Jesus' ascension, tradition says Philip preached in Greece, Syria, and Phrygia. Most accounts agree that he was martyred in Hierapolis in modern-day Turkey. Philip is the one who introduced Nathanael, also known as Bartholomew, to Jesus. When Philip told him they had found the Messiah, Nathanael was skeptical, famously asking, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" But after meeting Jesus, he immediately declared him the Son of God. Bartholomew is believed to have embarked on extensive missionary journeys, possibly reaching as far as India and Armenia. Tradition says he was martyred in Armenia, flayed alive, and then beheaded. Let's talk about Matthew, also called Levi. His story is a powerful testament to redemption. Matthew was a tax collector, a profession despised by the Jews at the time because they worked for the Roman oppressors and were often corrupt. Yet, Jesus walked up to his tax booth and simply said, "Follow me." And Matthew did, leaving everything behind. He is the traditional author of the Gospel of Matthew. After Pentecost, he is said to have preached in Persia and Ethiopia, where he was eventually martyred. Then there's Thomas, forever known as Doubting Thomas. He gets a bad rap, but his story is so relatable. He refused to believe Jesus had resurrected until he could see and touch the wounds himself. But when he did, his declaration was one of the most profound in the Bible: "My Lord and my God." Thomas's doubt led to a powerful affirmation of faith. Tradition strongly suggests that Thomas traveled the farthest, all the way to India, where he established a Christian community. The Marthoma Christians of India trace their roots back to his mission. It's widely believed he was martyred by a spear near modern-day. Next, we have another James, known as James the Lesser or James the son of Alphaeus. He's one of the more obscure apostles, and not much is written about him in the New Testament. He's sometimes identified with James, the brother of the Lord, who became a leader in the Jerusalem church. But scholars are divided on this. Tradition holds that he preached in Syria and was martyred there, though accounts of his death vary, with some saying he was stoned and clubbed. Along with James the Lesser, we have Thaddeus, also known as Jude, son of James. He is the traditional author of the Epistle of Jude. In the Gospel of John, he asks Jesus a key question about why he reveals himself to the disciples and not the world. Tradition often pairs him with Simon the Zealot. They are said to have preached together in Persia, where they were both martyred. Speaking of Simon the Zealot, his title gives us a clue about his past. The Zealots were a political movement that sought to incite the people of Judea to rebel against the Roman Empire. So Simon likely had a very militant, revolutionary background. It's amazing to think that a fierce zealot and a tax collector like Matthew, who worked for the Romans, were brought together in one group by Jesus. It shows the unifying power of his message. As mentioned, he is often linked with Jude Thaddeus and is believed to have been martyred in Persia. Finally, we come to the most tragic figure, Judas. He was the group's treasurer, and the Gospels paint him as a thief who would help himself to the money bag. For 30 pieces of silver, he betrayed Jesus to the authorities with a kiss. His story is a heartbreaking tale of greed and despair. Overcome with guilt at the crucifixion, Judas returned the money and took his own life. After his death, the remaining 11 apostles chose Matthias to replace him, bringing their number back to 12, symbolizing the 12 tribes of Israel. So, what can we take away from the lives of these 12 men? They were imperfect, ordinary individuals who were called to an extraordinary purpose. They argued, they doubted, they failed, but they were also incredibly brave. All but one, John, are believed to have died as martyrs, holding on to their faith until the very end. Their dedication transformed them from simple fishermen and workers into the foundational pillars of a faith that would change the course of human history. Their legacy is a powerful reminder that faith isn't about being perfect. It's about following a call and trusting in a message bigger than ourselves. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this gave you a clearer picture of who these incredible men were. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content just like this. Let me know in the comments which apostle's story you find most inspiring. Until next time, take care.